Hey, you're listening to Pure Light, where we explore how you can believe in yourself and be happy with who you are by learning to trust your worth and question your doubts. A lot of people get stuck because of fear, doubt, and negative self-talk. I can help you stop letting that get in your way so that you can go after what you want and love yourself along the way. My name is Ailey. I'm a coach and a Kundalini yoga and meditation teacher. This is episode 24, and it's about 5 ways to deal with fear. So I know I've talked about fear a couple times before, and fear is ultimately just a form of energy. So it's like an emotional experience, but it's also, it triggers certain things in the body and in the mind. So nervousness, like the butterflies in the stomach, or your pulse goes up, or maybe your mind starts racing, or you start thinking like more intensely. So all that kind of stuff happens when fear comes up. And the thing with fear is that if you don't actually face the fear, you perpetuate your body and your mind being in that state because it never really goes away. It just becomes part of how you are in the world and part of your emotional clutter. And I'm going to share with you a couple of different ways that you can deal with fear. So these are all things that I would consider practices. So it's not like a one-time thing where you do it once and you're never going to have fear again. Fear will always be a part of life because it's part of the emotional spectrum of the human experience. So these are more about, these practices are more about helping you figure out ways to strengthen your capacity to deal with fear. So in terms of yogic philosophy, fear is associated with the pranic body. So prana means life force energy. So the pranic body is like the energy body. And I tend to think of it as like the vitality or aliveness within us. And because fear is associated with the pranic body, that means that when your breath is really deep and relaxed, nothing can bother you. So the fear doesn't have that kind of effect on you where it makes you panic and freeze and stall. And when your pranic body is weak, you may have more fear because you may have that kind of low energy and a bit of anxiety and that kind of thing. So one of the best things that we can do is pranayama or yogic breathing exercises. So that's one of the things that we can do to deal with fear. And actually, I'll record one of them for my next podcast episode so that you guys have that as something you can do. So that's one way that you can deal with fear. Another way to deal with fear, so number 2, is to practice getting outside your comfort zone. So you've probably seen things that say, do something every day that scares you. And I used to think that stuff was kind of cheesy and whatever. But the thing is, when you practice getting outside your comfort zone, you really do build a tolerance for discomfort and resilience to facing your fears. So it's actually a really good thing to do, to consciously choose to go after something that scares you or to do the thing that makes you feel nervous. Because the more that you do it, the more you will feel comfortable being uncomfortable in that way with whatever sensations are going on in the body. So that's number 2. Number 3 is meditation. So meditation is something that I love and highly recommend to everyone. And it's really good for fear because if you have a busy mind, fear is really just a mental projection. So it's your mind going into the future and assuming something bad is going to happen, usually, unless, you're running away from a bear or something like that. But like usually fear is just something that exists in the mind as a possibility in the future. And so meditation will help bring your mind back into the present or help you be more aware of your thoughts so that you realize it's just a thought and it's not something that's happening in reality right now. And so that's the third way to deal with fear. And yoga is also a great way. So that would be number 4. And Kundalini yoga in particular is a great way to deal with fear because it helps you increase your capacity to tolerate sensations of discomfort in the body. Because in Kundalini yoga, you'll do something for a certain amount of time and it's going to get uncomfortable. But the more that you just go through it, while obviously listening to your body, the more capacity you have to have that strength to do that in your real life. So Just to recap, the first 4 ways to deal with fear. So the first one was pranayama, or yogic breathing. The second one was to practice getting outside your comfort zone. The third one was meditation. And then the fourth one was yoga, and especially Kundalini yoga. And number 5 is a serious mindset shift. So I'm so excited to tell you that the resource that I've been working on is ready for you. The resource to help you do the thing that scares you. It's called Become Your Bravest Self. It's a 20-minute written exercise that'll totally change your perspective on staying in your comfort zone. Find it in the show notes or get it at becomeyourbravestself.com. It'll help you see your comfort zone and stepping outside your comfort zone in a new light. Try the serious mindset shift by going through Become Your Bravest Self. And again, in the next podcast episode, I'll guide you through a yogic breathing practice that'll help you with fear. Thank you so much for listening. Until next time, may you be guided by your light.